toss that over because I can't see any questions or anything. Hey, everybody, it's great. Welcome to 22nd Street Landing here in beautiful San Pedro, California. I'm Phil Frieman, and that is Captain Danny Kadota. It's great having you here. As you can see, I'm well prepared, Danny.
Perfect.
You know?
I got caught outside. It was out
Yeah.
there with Paisano.
Who are you talking to? Oh,
Paisano
senior
and Jeff.
or
Yeah,
junior?
Junior. No, senior.
Oh, senior's
Oh,
there?
yeah.
What's he
He's
doing?
up
Oh, he's working on
there.
the...
He was talking with Jeff. So
Oh, nice.
it's always like old home day back down here at 22nd Street. You know?
Yeah.
And it's funny because Mark, when he was, I remember him as a kid when they were pinheading, and he and Danny
Strasser?
Salas and
Oh,
Strasser,
yeah.
all three of them had their bikes tied up to the dock down there behind the Sport King.
Really?
Oh yeah, I mean we go back, but these guys all cut their teeth when they're in their early teens.
I'm trying to think, though.
Pinheading back then. Yeah.
How old are you? Did you mind me asking?
No.
You're what?
71.
Yeah, so how old are those guys? They're like 60, right?
Yeah, they're probably
Or 60 something?
Yeah, probably.
They're a little
Sure.
younger
Yeah,
than us.
sure,
Yeah,
sure,
okay.
sure.
Yeah. All right, yeah, that makes sense. Those young whippersnappers, little
exactly.
60-year-old kids,
Exactly.
man.
Exactly.
I don't know what to tell you. Danny, we had a great time down in Mexico.
Oh, that's awesome.
We got to bring you down there with us.
I would go.
Would you? Yeah, because
Absolutely.
people are afraid to go down there and everything, and it's just that, it's like anything else. If you go to the wrong part of town, you're going to find some stuff that's not good. But if you go to the right part of town, you're going to enjoy yourself, meet really nice people, and that certainly was the case. I got to tell you.
I love it down there, and there's just certain protocols and things that and a lot of it's just common sense.
Yeah.
But and I stay very, very well abreast of what's going on because Yatomi lives down there too, and so he calls. I talk to him all the time.
Yeah.
And he's telling me, this year we're gonna have to make sure our visas go get our visas for our trip down Bay of Los Angeles. But all the different protocols that you do your homework, folks, before you go.
Yes.
And you'll never have any problems. And and safety is always first. We carpool it, we caravan it down when we go down to Bay Valley. We never ever had problems. I knock on wood, but it's been beautiful. I mean, it's just awesome.
100%.
There's certain etiquette and courtesies that you extend to them.
Yeah, like anywhere else,
Like anywhere
right?
else, exactly. You
Yeah.
do your homework and you'll never have a problem.
Right, 100%. We're going to be down there, I think it's September 12th through the 14th, although I got a cryptic message from Paulina a moment ago. I think it's September 12th through the 14th. I'm sure it is, and we're going to try to talk Danny into coming down with us because that would be fun if you came
that would
down,
be fun.
jumped on a ponga, caught a yellowtail,
Oh, gee. Twist my arm.
come back, eat some
Twist my arm.
ceviche.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, come on, man, that would be
no,
great.
That's where it's at. That's awesome.
Hey, hit that like button. Thanks for being here. We have another live show tonight. It's going to be over there at Island Fishing Tqckle with Danny's friend, Sam De La Torre. Scott Buchert will be making an appearance there tonight. Scott says he'll sign autographs. He wants $20 an autograph. I told him to settle for 10. Yes, thank you. He's joining us here tonight also. Good to have him with us. You want to read a couple questions here?
Sure, go for it.
Jolene Thompson, who is a dear friend of the Friedman Adventures family, says, good afternoon, Phil and Captain Danny. What's your go-to weather forecast for this Friday Island Spirit charter? Mr. Phil, is it Noah, Wendy, the Weather Channel? I use Sailflow. I use Windy. What I saw when I looked at it was there's going to be a window of opportunity on Friday where it's a little breezy, but right previous to the trip and the entire time previous, it's going to be blowing, which is going to generate a pretty big swell, Jolene. Whether it lays down like that or not, I don't know. And it looks like we have a window on Friday, but what I have done is I have arranged to have a live broadcast with Captain Daniel Hadaway Wednesday morning when we're a little bit closer to Friday, and then we have a better idea of what that weather is going to be, not only the weather, but what that swell is going to be like, because we had planned on fishing a long ways from home, but we're going to have a week now or a few days of very windy weather. Tomorrow, it's the Rockfish opener, but it's going to be breezy, like very breezy.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go out in that kind of weather.
No, and for safety reasons, I'm sure the boat and the captain, he's going to be doing his homework and getting his intel. And I'm sure he's not going to jeopardize anything. So
No, so we've got some really breezy weather here going to start manifesting itself tonight, Jolene, and then tomorrow's supposed to be windy, and the subsequent day is supposed to be windy, and then we'll continue to watch it and see where we go from there. I don't want to put the kibosh on the rockfish opener, and maybe some guys are going to try to run in this stuff, and maybe they'll be successful doing it. But from what I can see, it looks pretty darn nasty. You know, you got a clearing wind behind this front blowing in, and you just have to be careful. Salty Rod 365. Always great to see you, my friend. Hey, Phil and Danny and the whole Friedman Adventurers family. Salty Rod is with you all the time, Danny. He loves your show.
Appreciate that.
He's a huge supporter. And David Rosenthal, who's one of the greatest guys, Angler R Pliers. Go to Angler R Pliers on YouTube, not on YouTube, www, I think it's anglerrpliers.com. Correct me if I'm wrong, David. David, great to see you here, my friend. Michael Burke. Hey, how the hell is my best friend Phil doing after all the good food you ate in Ensenada? Hope you're doing great, Michael Burke. Michael, Dan Lightfoot is here, and Dan's on the carnivore diet with me. And I got to tell you, man, I cheated a little bit. There's no question about it, but I'm doing good, Michael. Hanging in there, and really had a great time down in Mexico. Danny?
You mean a tortilla or so slipped by?
Yeah, kind of.
I can't believe that.
Hey, we started out, Anthony, we went into our favorite carne asada place, and I told him we don't want any tortillas, just give us the meat.
Carne only, yeah.
It was so good, though.
Solamente.
Man, it was so good. And it was like, what time was it? Like 10 in the morning? 8 in the morning? Yeah. I think it was like 8 in the morning. Yeah. 8 in the morning, and I go, oh, it's not going to be open. And we drive into Tecate, and they're just rolling up. Yeah, and I'm like, hey, let's go.
Perfect.
And we had a really great time there. So, yeah, Michael, I'm trying to behave myself. The food in Mexico, that's part of the reason you go, right?
Absolutely.
You tell this story of when you guys were really young and you go down and eat like for dollars, right?
Actually, we used to sneak down there in high school.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, well, you know, I had the big idea of, and I'm going to tell you, this is when open party, like down in San Diego Landings.
Yeah.
Open party for half day was probably $18.
Yeah.
And I had gone down to Ensenada, and it was like half that.
Yeah.
And so I gathered a bunch of high school buddies. We went down there and get down there. I'm looking for they said, there's your boat down there, senor. You know, and we go down, and it's a small 30-something footer. And I see a Briggs & Stratton motor on the back, and I'm going, oh, you got to be kidding. What's for the bait? You know, but I'm looking at it, what's powering this thing?
No.
And so we had all these promises of yellowtail, and we got out and we're fishing Todos Santos. So we never got outside the islands or anything, you know. And so I said, well, where's donde está the yellowtail, right? He goes, not around, senor. I said, all right. So we killed the calicos. I mean, we had a blast. Problem was, when we got back in the dock, all the pangeros were unloading straight yellowtail. I'm going, okay, that's it. I'm staying in San Diego. Obviously, we'll pay up the extra, $8 or whatever.
Well, those guys on the Pongas found them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Noriega, San Diego Padres. Are the Padres playing today? If they are, and that's your team, good luck. Dan Lightfoot is not a Padres fan. He looks like he is a Dodger fan. Steve Bugman, Duncan, Bugman. Hey, Steve, good to see you, man. Steve was out on a private boat with a buddy the other day. Steve, where was that? Was it Catalina? Anyway, 41-pound yellow. That's a big, I'll call it local, Catalina.
That's a slug.
That's a slug of a fish, Steve.
Man, oh, man.
Yeah, we featured that on the morning briefing, and it was really great. Man, I'm so happy you were able to catch such a spectacular fish. Bill Wilkerson from the Malihini and the Horizon. Bill, it's great to see you. He says, hey, Danny. Hey, Phil. Bill, great to see you here, my friend. And, man, we got tons of comments. A lot of people watching here. Should I just keep going?
Yeah.
I might as well, right?
Speaking of, I was just looking at this. I just had my jacket on.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this, Phil. What year was that?
1935.
Okay, and we're in 2025. We're 90 years.
Wow. H&M landing. That is
many
awesome.
years down there.
Yeah, that is friggin' awesome. Bill, thanks for joining us. Dansky, love fishing Ensenada. Me and some friends do a yearly trip out of there chasing bluefin. We do too, and we're going to do that trip down there with my co-host in Mexico, Paulina, September 12th through the 14th. Unless she's changing the date. If she is, we'll let you know. But in fact, Jeff Jessup just walked by, and I have a charter on his boat, the Apollo, out of Seaforth on the 23rd of September. Easy to remember, Patrick's birthday, my son
There
Patrick.
you go.
And so, did you see the video I put up of the grandson and the thunder in Florida? It's a great video.
No, I'll have to pull it up.
Patrick's holding his baby,
Yeah.
my grandson, Finn,
Yeah.
and he goes, "Here comes the thunder." And you hear this, thunder, and you see Finn, and he's looking, and you're kind of waiting for his reaction, and then he just burst into laughter. And, I'm like, that kid's going to be an outdoorsman. I can
Awesome. That's
I can
awesome.
see it coming. Good stuff. Let's see. Reds Noriega, no relation to Manuel Noriega. Okay, got you. I thought maybe you were down there in Panama. Steve Bunk in San Diego area is where he caught that big forky, 41 pounds. You got it. Bill says hi. Joaquin Lopez was fishing at Shelter Island this morning. All right, good stuff. Phil, can't wait to get on your show again. Talk about Cedros, bro. Bill, you got to get your butt up here. Let's do that. We'll talk about Cedros Island. I know you're doing those kind of mothership trips down there, which is a great idea, right? Mm-hmm. Great idea. Get the guys on the Pongas, and that'll be good. I'm like back to back with live shows tonight, Bill, but tomorrow you and I can chat about that. We'll figure that out. 21 hunting and fishing. Fernandez Charters knows where the home guard big yellowtail are. So that's good. All right. Fernandez Charters, I'm guessing that's in Ensenada, my friend. You're getting a recommendation from this man right here. Jay Bay. Hey, boys. Afternoon, Phil and Danny watching at Gardena Bowl.
Oh my God, that's a hangout. That's
Oh
where
my
my
God.
crew used to meet. The old when the Tanaka brothers, my brother, Brian Kiyahara.
Yeah.
All this that was our meeting place, and finish place a lot of times too. After we left here at 22nd Street, we'd go over there and have dinner too. So
So J Bay is there. Danny, why don't you tell everybody, because they're thinking a bowling alley? What the heck kind of food do they have there?
Bowling alley. But let me tell you some history that ties
Please.
into sport fishing. The owner's husband used to work as a galley hand on the New Hustler 2. And Henry Tashima would cook. They had a very small grill on the Hustler at the time. And he would cook for us on the crew. And most of the old Buddha Head charters, they all brought their own sushi and the teriyaki and the chicken, the rice, the whole deal. They bring their own stuff. So he would cook for us, and he would do like fried rice on the griddle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just looked at it, and I started thinking about it. With the Mustang, our grill was huge. It was what, 3 feet by 2 feet. It was a big grill. And back in those days, we used to have to do it. You remember individual breakfasts?
Oh yeah.
So by the time you're done with breakfast, it took hours. And I'm thinking, I says, you know what? I'm going to try this. So I went out, bought a big 20-cup rice cooker, one of the big ones, right? And we get like 5 pounds of bacon, dice it all up, throw it on the grill, throw that 20 cups of rice on the grill, spread it out.
Yeah.
Hit it with the soy sauce, the eggs, the green onions, scramble it all up. And then we would do, cook it, put it back in the rice cooker. And then the guys would just come in and order that with, your eggs over easy or sunny side up, or a scramble, whatever it is, we throw it. And, I did that because in the old days, you remember the galley, you had sausages, you had bacon. Well, you do all this stuff individually.
Yes.
You don't know what anybody wants, so you can't get a grip on it. You waste a lot of it because, they may not eat the sausages that day or whatever it might be.
Right.
So we started doing that, and guys were going nuts, and we give them a big proportion.
Yeah, that's the way to
2 eggs
do
over
it.
easy.
Fill them up.
And that started a whole different view, and it was affordable. They were happy. We were happy because once breakfast is done, the galley's open.
Yeah.
After that,
Right.
It's not easier. So, there's a lot that we evolved that we were around.
So
that
did they
evolution
serve
about.
the Gardena Bowl we were talking about? Did they serve that kind of cuisine there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you adopted
Yeah,
that?
we
or-
adopted it. Yeah. Well, Henry's wife, and he was the galley guy on the New Hustler.
Yeah.
His wife owned the concession there.
Oh, okay.
Ethel. She had
Yeah.
the coffee shop there, Gardena Bowl. So, our crew would go there anyway for breakfast and everything. But, that changed a lot. That changed a lot. Because instead of cooking up all the sausages, bacon, whatever it might be, ham, you didn't know what each individual wanted. And once they started doing that, it was easier. We could knock breakfast out and get the day done and in gear. Plus, it gave them a nice, healthy portion of fried rice with a couple eggs on top, and it changed everything. Now you see usually if you're long range tripping it,
Yeah.
usually one of the mornings for breakfast is the fried rice. And so it came out of that, and that was back in the 70s.
That is good stuff. See what you started, J Bay, with this? Isaac, a.k.a. The Sack. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Can't wait to get out on the rock cod. Did they up the limit on reds to 4, or is it still 2? I believe it's still 2, Isaac. I'm not positive on that, but I think it's still 2. Cargo 91. Mr. Phil. Hey, Cargo 91, thanks for being here. I went to Dockweiler to fish the outgoing tide. Finally got my first, second, and third halibut. Way to go, man. A corvina and a yellowfin croaker on the drop shot. That's some darn good surf fishing.
That's really good.
Cargo
That's awesome.
91,
Yeah.
you're my hero. And of course, this is during a grunion run right now. Tonight's the third night of that run. Way to go. That is spectacular. Great fishing. Man, I'll tell you, we're going to be heading home. I got to take Scott Bugert home tonight. Yeah, that's right. Look at, hey, Bill Wilkerson. Look who's here with us, by the way. But I was thinking, by the time I'm coming home, the grunion will be up on the beach. I can walk down there, pick one up, and cast it out. Catch myself a halibut, man. Cargo 91's got me excited about that. 21 Hunting and Fishing, Fernandez Charters, is out of Mission Bay. Thank you for the clarification there. Bill Wilkerson says he loves Gardena Bowl for food.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. Down home. Yeah.
Joaquin Lopez, 21 Hunting, where at? He's asking. Let's see. Dana. No, I think he said up there in Santa Monica Bay is what he said. Let me see. Dockweiler, right? Yeah, Dockweiler. That's Santa Monica Bay, my friend. J Bay says he's full. Steve Bugman Duncan, 21 Hunting and Fishing. I was out with Pablo yesterday, and we caught 2 yellows, lost 1. And let's see, hunting and fishing. Awesome, Steve. A home guard yellowtail should be on everyone's bucket list. 41-pound fish. That is one heck of a fish.
That's a nice fish.
Yeah, no kidding,
Really
man.
nice fish.
That is beautiful. How many fish over 40 have you caught? Like locally?
I don't know. We've got
a dozen, maybe?
I got a few. Guadalupe back
Yeah.
in the day, and then
But locally?
locally, no.
Yeah,
No,
right?
None locally.
Really?
Not that big.
You mean running your boat all those
Running
years,
boat all
nothing
those
over
years.
40?
No.
Steve!
30s, 30s and stuff, and nothing that big.
I know,
Yeah.
man. That's a huge,
Yeah,
like
no,
you
I
said,
mean-
Guadalupe.
All Guadalupe, Alejos, that's where we always got our big yellows and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Very, very good. Let's see. Steve says, hunting and fishing, yes, sir, a big fish. And Bill Wilkerson says, and sends his best to Scott Bukert, who's right behind me.
Bill, take them with you.
Bill, I got to tell you, Scott is bringing food tonight. I've only gotten, he's called me a few times today, like 674 times.
Yeah, that's a couple.
And so thank God that we're doing a show now and he can't get to me. And I'm going to see him in another hour. But no, Scott is going to extremes. He's cooking.
Attaway, Scott.
We were down in Mexico. Paulina, my co-host down there. It's her birthday coming up. Scott has made her a birthday cake. We're going to sing happy birthday to her tonight. It's going to be an emotional night because anytime I have to take Scott home and listen to his nonsense for an hour and a half, I break into tears. It's very emotional for me, let me tell you. Scott, are you listening to any of this? I hope so. All right, let's get back. We just way too many comments here tonight. Pushing up to over 40 people watching the Danny Kadota Show live from 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. Anthony, do we have a fish yet? No. Did that one count? That one did not count.
Well, that was prior to the
Michael Limon is out there
gun going
fishing.
off, huh?
Danny, I always do the over-under line. We kind of are cheating because we noticed Michael hasn't been in here and we've been broadcasting for a while. You set the line tonight. What is it? The over-under
So
line.
he had that one. I
Michael
haven't seen him
Limon.
in a little while. Let's see, how many minutes has that been? Okay, well, I'm going to say 3. We'll give him a break.
The line is 3. Will Michael Limon catch over or under 3 fish starting right now? He did catch a small perch before the show started. I was going to admit that into the count, and Anthony said, no, that was not during the live show. And I said, you're absolutely right, Anthony. So he's out with that one.
You know, one day Mike's he's gonna borrow a receiver from one of the boats
Keep
and load him up.
everything
load the
in there.
receiver in there and come up.
That'll be the day
He'll put money down on the
when we
over
start
and under, and
gambling.
then- Yeah.
Hey, Michael, we'll bet you
he's
$20.
A little sneak. He's gonna get us suckered in.
Glendale Mendo from Wicked Tackle Box. Folks, if you haven't checked out Wicked Tackle Box, you need to do it. Glenn says, hey, Phil and Danny just jumped on. Always great to hear your show. Wicked Tackle Box is fantastic. Glenn, good to see you. Hopefully we'll see you over at Sam's tonight. Scott's bringing lots of food, signing autographs for $20 an autograph. That's a bargain, you know? That is a real bargain. Yeah, sure it is.
Oh, you bring the picture and just cradle the picture like that, but you get a picture.
All right, Steve, Bugman, Duncan, my biggest was at the Rocks on the Independence, talking about a yellowtail, 48-pound big forky for... Yeah, but man, dude,
The Rocks is an awesome place.
I still take that 41-pounder he caught locally. I would still take that over a 48 at the Rocks, right?
That's a feat. Yeah.
Yeah, that is an exceptional catch, Steve. Way to go. Thanks for sharing that with us. Bill Wilkerson, he's very consistent with asking me for work, and I admire that. 100%, Bill. The guy, Scott Buchert, his work ethic is second to none. It really is. The only thing that he's better at than his work ethic is driving me up a tree. But, man, I mean, the guy, he calls me every day. Can you find me a job? Can you find me a job? He can have a job, and he's calling me to find him a job in case something happens to the job. But you got to admire that. Because there's a lot of people who don't want to work, and that guy works up every morning wanting to work. So, Scott, I got to throw you a bone on that one. See you in another hour here, my friend. All right, let's see. Noriega, when you guys go to Bahia de Los Angeles, what captain do you use? I'll be there next month. The Cranker is here. Mike Krinkovich just walked in. He's bringing pizza. He's backing Scott Buchert up over at Island Fishing Tqckle today. I haven't been down to Bay of LA for a while, but I do know there's a guy named Misael Martinez, and he does a great job. And God darn, I wish I knew the name of the guy. They gave me a shirt and everything else at the PCS show. Do you use anybody?
We fish with Fernando Diaz.
There you go.
And the Diaz family is actually one of the founding families in the Bay of LA.
Oh, okay.
Way back.
How old is Fernando?
Fernando's young. He's probably in his 30s. I would think something like that. But he's good. He's absolutely. That's what Steve Itomi negotiated with a long time ago, and he's phenomenal. Yeah.
All right, Anthony just reminded me the guy that I haven't fished with, but I know is Fish Arms. Fish Arms, and your guy is?
Fernando Diaz.
Fernando Diaz, the Diaz family have been a part of that.
Yeah, they were a founding family.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
There you are. Are you heading down there, Noriega? If you are heading down there, man, good luck. It's been some really good fishing. Michael Limon with a giant sand bass.
Look at that.
Oh, my God. Let's fillet it up and eat it. Where are you going? That's at least 14 inches long. No, he laughs. He's returning it. Just joking, everybody. Little joke. We are returning that poor little baby to the sea. All right, that's one.
Yeah,
2 more, and he's at your number, Danny.
That's it.
He's moving up on it. Hit that like button, everybody. We really appreciate it when you do that. It means the world to both Danny and I. Share this video and subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. Once again, we are looking down the barrel of some nasty weather here. It's going to blow tonight, Danny.
Yep.
Right now, though, it's definitely the calm before the storm.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't look like there's any wind at all, right?
It'll find us, I'm pretty sure.
So windy day ahead. We'll see how that all works out. So the Independence is on their way down the Baja Peninsula right now. They're going for a 16-day trip. They're on day 2 of traveling. So they're getting down there a little ways. Haven't seen any sign of the bluefin. Does that worry you?
No, they've been pretty steady, but a lot of that stuff's been further north too,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
amazing. So they're probably shooting for the goodies.
They
I'm
are.
sure they got the intel on wherever they're going.
They're pretty much straight lining down
Yeah,
there to
yeah. So
Hurricane
there's-
or...
Yeah, they've got the scoop.
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't worry me. They've like Danny said, they've got a destination in mind. The guys on that trip are on that trip for big yellowfin and wahoo primarily, and so they're pretty much straight lining it. They would have had to have driven over some bluefin. They don't have time to
No, you boogie
fool
down,
around with
you
it,
hit
right?
You hit that on the way back, on the rebound.
Yeah, you know, if you've caught tons of yellowfin and everything else, then you can do that. Hey, by the way, Tuna Riot Clear Poppers. Hey, Dean, Tuna Riot Clear Poppers. We're going to have a podcast for you tomorrow morning with Pete Thompson fishing those clear poppers. You ever fish poppers for bluefin or anything?
Not so much for them, yeah.
Yeah, for what?
For yellowfin,
Yeah, oh yeah.
but not so much for bluefin.
Yellowfin bite those things good, don't they?
Yeah.
He's got these smaller ones that are good for stripers and all kinds of different stuff. It's pretty darn good. In fact, Anthony's going to give you a look at some of his stuff. Danny, there you go. Yeah. Tuna Riot, everybody. And Pete is a fountain of information. He'll be on here tomorrow morning. He'll be talking about catching some giant yellowtail in New Zealand. You're going to love that. He really goes into some detail about how they got torn up by these sharks trying to land these big 40, 50-pound yellowtail. And then also he's going to go into great detail about how you can get bit fishing these clear poppers. These small ones, man, I'm going to fish bigger barb perch in the surf with that, and I'm going to get bit.
Yeah.
Playa Saldamondo,
cool.
where
There's a
Anthony
little
and I
rattle in
were.
there.
Man, I'll tell you, those big barb perch eat lucky crab lures full speed, so
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm excited about that. So you'll have to give one of those a try when your next trip, Danny.
Yeah.
He's caught a lot of bluefin, hooked a lot of bluefin on him. Go ahead.
If you get a little, I don't know what sizes you have. It depends on your cast. This is something I would throw maybe at Bay of LA too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if you got bigger stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's got some bigger ones. I think it's a 150 and a 155.
That's a
and-
great test for anything because the cabria they're not bass, they're grouper. I mean, they may hit and act like it a lot of times, but when they pull, they're pulling like a grouper. And so you're going to have the strong enough hooks, because they'll straighten hooks out on even with I've seen 2Xs go instant,
Yeah, and these are
You
really
gotta
good,
have
strong.
about
He's got
3X. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got those all rigged up, man, with the right hooks.
Yeah.
How would you fish that for cabria down there?
I would just fly line it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, just throw it straight.
And do you pop
That's
it
what
or
I'm
do
saying.
you straight wind
Well,
it? Or
I'd have to see how it swims.
they
This with the entry there, it looks like it's more of a popper.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want something a little subsurface. But I mean,
Uh-oh.
you hit the water column with that.
Yes. Michael Emo.
that's two.
Up to 2.
2 down.
Anthony is registering him in.
man.
Everybody, we have live fishing going on here tonight.
Look like
on
you're
the
pretty close, Mike.
Danny Kadota Show. The last day in March. Do you realize we've already torn through 3 months?
My God.
The first quarter is gone.
Yeah, you and I both turned leaves in March here.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, man.
you're a
That's
couple-
right.
couple weeks
You're the
behind me.
13th.
13th.
I'm the 23rd.
That's right.
And I know a bunch of other people. I think Jolene Thompson had a birthday this month. My son Philip is April 9th. My co-host in Mexico is April 4th or 5th. What was it, Anthony? I forget. But she's one of those 2 days. I think it's the 4th. And so Scott is making her a cake. So yeah, man, I can't believe how fast
Oh, it's flying.
life goes by when you get older like us.
Yeah, I mean, we blink and we're in summer.
I know. Danny, what do you think about the amount of anchovy we're seeing in the local environment? I mean, everybody's talking about it. I had a guy, his name's Bert Carlson. He was down at Alamitos Bay a couple days ago. He goes, I've been coming here for years. I've never seen anchovy everywhere. He said it's all over there. We've heard about it here in San Pedro. We've heard about it in the Channel Islands, San Diego. They had it down in Ensenada.
Oh,
There's
wow.
a lot of it around
Well, that's
right now.
That's a good sign. That's just a good sign overall.
Yeah, for
You know,
what?
It's one of the best forage fish.
You want to
for
say
everything.
it?
Yeah, those fish that had the big eyes and long side, like long pec fins. Yeah, yeah.
And it's also a good
So
sign.
we just say, keep your fingers crossed. That's all you can say. We've been trying calling this stuff forever, but those every time we try to call something the albacore, they give you the fin.
They do, man.
Yeah.
They're good at that.
Yeah.
What do you think about the sand bass, barracuda, that kind of thing? Do you think that?
That's also one of the mainstays, right?
Yeah.
Beta, barracuda,
Yes.
sand. Yeah, it's perfect.
All right, we
Fatten
got
up on those.
a ton more comments to get going here. So let me ask you to hit that like button, please, and I'll get back to this right now. Jorge Bocanegra says he's betting the under. Jorge, we're already up to 2 now. I don't know. Isaac says he's got faith in Michael. He'll go over the number. You're leaning in a good place. James Blanchard, great guy, always with us here on Frieman Adventures. James, good to see you. Hi, Phil. Danny, me and my son went out on the native sun Saturday. One halibut caught was 23 pounds. I caught one sand bass as a legal fish, and they had a bunch of small halibut to go along with it. Been a little bit slower here lately, although previous to that trip, James, as you know, they had 6 halibut. They've had some nice ones, though.
That's, yeah.
25, 30-pound fish. So.
Yeah, it almost seems a little early for them, but yeah, who knows? Mother Nature.
All right, Bugman, you got a question here from Jorge Bocanegra. I'll see if he answers it, and then I'll read the question. Jolene Thompson, it's halibut time on the native sun. This Thursday, April 3rd from 7 to 5 p.m. We need 4 more to make it a go. There's 4 of us girls that will be on board. Come fish with us for big halibut right here, 22nd Street Landing. You will fish with Jolene and her friends, and that's worth the price of admission right there. She's great. She's an awesome fisherman. She was on our 8-day trip. She's been a friend for years. And really, really great stuff. Native Sun, Jolene will be there Thursday, April 3rd. You can call the boys right now at 310-832-8304 and get on board. Noriega says, that's my captain. So there you go. Misael is his captain, or your friend from the Diaz family is his captain. Michael Burke,
yeah. Yep.
Hector Torres, Daggett, Sportfishing, Bay of L.A. There you go. Another recommendation. Appreciate you guys, because I know when you come on here on this Friedman Adventures show, Danny Kadota Show, what you guys say, I take to the bank, because you guys are awesome, and we appreciate you sharing all these great people with all of us. Glenn Del Mendo. Hey, Phil, have you September set a date for the Ensenada Weekend Adventure with Paulina? Will you have a few options of fishing, touring, hotels? You also mentioned pricing. Any idea what the cost? Glenn, we're just starting out here. It's going to take us a week or so, maybe even a little bit longer to get that all together. The weekend, when I left Ensenada, was the 12th through the 14th of September. That's the tentative date. But I got a weird message from Paulina. Weird in that I couldn't understand it. That she might have to switch it to the 19th. I'll get that all figured out. But yes, we're going to have all kinds of options, like definitely fishing on Saturday. If you want to fish on Sunday, you can go for that. Have at it. If you want to do wine tasting, you want to walk around the town. We just want to make it safer. We want everybody to feel safe, right?
Well, yep. And there's just certain common sense protocols, Phil.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been down there enough. We've been down there enough. And we caravan it. There's just certain things that we do for safety factor.
Yeah.
For the safety factor, but we've never had a problem, and we knock on wood. But
Yeah.
we've been very blessed, And they've got, like on the roads, there's generally a lot of patrols
Yeah.
going down for. So just stay with the speed limit. You have nothing to worry about, folks.
So
Yeah.
Anthony and I, we get to Tecate. We have breakfast at that place I told you about, and then we start to head out of town, and there's a massive wreck and a huge line. And I'm like, oh my God, we're going to be in this for hours. And a cop just starts beelining for my window. And he comes up to my window, and I go, yeah, hey, buenos dias, oficial. Good morning, officer. And he goes, hey, you're a pretty small car. You're going to go over there up that dirt road. You're going to go way up there and you're going to
I
make a
saw
left.
pictures of you, right? You took
Yeah,
pictures of that,
yeah. And I go, wait a minute, officer. I get lost, back home. He goes, you can do it. And I go, okay, what a cool cop, because he got us out of a 3-hour mess.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we had a bunch of guys following us.
Yeah.
Like, I think they thought they thought we knew what we were doing. And they couldn't have been further from, but we managed to pull it off, man. We really had a great time. Noriega says, Fernando is awesome. We stay at the Casablanca and hang out at Fernando's house afterwards. He schooled me one day about circle hooks. So that's your guy, Fernando, right? Diaz.
Fernando Diaz.
Well, that's great, Noriega.
Yeah.
Thank you. Really good stuff. Glenn Del Mendo, shout out to Anthony, too. He's always behind the camera and supporting the team. I got to tell you, he does a great job. My wife, Ruth, met him the other day, and Ruth was saying, ¿Cómo se llama este joven? What's the name of that young man? What a great kid, and blah, blah, blah. Ruth was going on and on and on. She's got good taste, so I have to admit. Now Dan.
Oh, Peter Gallery weighed in on that one, did you?
Yeah, Dan Lightfoot is saying, man, your wife doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. Oh, my God. Poor Anthony. All right, let's go back to some more comments. They are rolling in. Lots of people watching here. What a great show. Danny really having a lot of fun. Brandon joins us. Brandon really wants albacore this year, and he says, Danny, how often do you see a bluefin and albacore mixing together in a school? Is it common or rare? Good question, Brandon.
You see it, but you really don't want to see it, because what happens then, the albacore they start acting like bluefin. And instead of a wide open albacore bite where you fire out a bait and it's just instant, they take some of the traits of the bluefin. They get touchier, and you're going to have to fish lighter line then. And that's what I found when you had mixed bluefin and albacore over the years.
Yeah, you do see it, and you're absolutely right. And I remember Yo looking at me and
yeah.
saying, Yo from Yo's Fishing Tqckle back in the day. Some of you guys might have heard that name or actually knew him. And he'd say, oh, man, they're acting like bluefin. They got them all screwed up.
Yeah.
That's weird how that happens.
Yeah, well, they take on those traits. It's just really odd, where you have to drop down in size. Nice. The chovy has to be hot. Usually you get an albacore bite. You can brain hook them and usually hook them, but no, you got to get a bait to swim very naturally like a bluefin.
100%.
Yep.
Omar, salutations, Phil and Danny. Omar, thank you. Welcome to the Danny Kadota Show. Scott Bucher, teeing off on Dan Lightfoot already. Dan, you better bring the beers tonight. And then he says, bring something, Dan. Not just yourself and your appetite. Scott, boy, you're letting him have it. And Mad Dog says, no beers for you, Scott. We want you under control tonight. Scott, what are you charging for autographs tonight? Everybody wants to know. Scott Bucher at Island Fishing Tqckle tonight, which means Danny will get out of here tonight and go straight home. I know what that means.
Do you have a whole stack of these things?
Yeah, you can just, you can take that home. And you can say, I saw Scott today. All right, let's see. Steve Bugman Duncan. Jorge, I'll be fishing another derby up north same weekend. That was a prior question. I may go back and try to find that in a little bit. I'm sorry about that. Or you guys are talking to one another at that case. And Mad Dog says, thank you so much, Glenn. Scott says, take my picture down right now. Damn it. He didn't actually say damn it, but I thought I'd throw that in. Should I take it down or not? No, hey. That's Lightfoot, Scott. He says, come over here and make them take it down. That's what he said.
When you're done, you can take it down to the restroom and just put it over the cover seat. So when you lift it up, it's, hey, Scott.
Scott, listen, even Danny's on. Danny doesn't pick on anybody. And he's on you tonight.
Sorry, Scott. Just,
Get him, Danny, get him. He deserves it. You know how many times he calls me a day? Scott, I'm going to kill you. All right, Scott, can't wait to see you tonight, man. We got a lot of great stuff. Fisherman72. Welcome, my friend. Thank you for being here. Hit that like button, everybody. Danny, Phil, Will from the El Dorado didn't check in, but had good fishing at San Clemente Island on the whitefish and sheephead for our 19 anglers that took a chance and had a great weather for most of the trip. So really, really good stuff there. We love it. I reported on it. I guess you went to Nicholas. I was wrong. You went to SCI. So nice fishing for the El Dorado out of Long Beach for fishing. Jolene Thompson's back. We love you, Jolene. Hope you're going to join us for the Scott Buchard Show later tonight at 6 p.m. We're going to rename Tackle Shop Confessions to the Scott Buchard Show because he's on Dan, man. I like that, actually.
Oh, Sammy's going to love that.
He said he's going to wrestle Dan tonight, actually.
I only got 5 good minutes.
You don't need more than 30 seconds. You're going to be good. And Anthony, you've wrestled and done jiu-jitsu your whole life. Can you referee that match?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Perfect. We got a referee, too. Jolene says, thanks for the Native Son plug. And us girls will be on the Island Spirit the next day for Rockfish. Man, you guys are going at it. I love it. And fun with you, Phil. I'm also making you some baby back ribs.
Holy smokes.
Perfect for the carnivore diet, man.
Exactly.
That sounds so good. Kenji Dodson. Kenji, good to see you. Phil and Danny, good times. Better because you're here. Omar says, the Albies are very susceptible to peer group pressure. So put some peer group pressure on them, man. Let's do that. I'm all for it. Glenn Del Mendo. Danny, what's your thought of La Nina changing the bluefin? 4 years ago, we were already landing them in March on the Polaris Supreme. Yeah, do you think it's the cold water, the La Nina? Do you have a guess on that?
You know what?
60 plus people watching. Great show tonight.
You just can't call. And, we should almost be thankful that we can't make the predictions like that because we'd wipe them out, And so it's a matter of finding, I used to have a friend that I fished with from high school that, we say, hey, where are the fish at? He goes, they are where you find them. And you look at him and you go, what a smart aleck. But you know what? The more you think about it, the more it's true because it can change daily. They could be on one bank one day and hop another so many miles, hit another, be on another bank. You just don't know, And I think that's why it's called fishing and not catching.
Yep.
But you just have to go prepared. I will tell you this: if the bluefin are mixed with albacore, I would bring your lighter line. You're going to be fishing a lot of 20. You might even drop down or have, and just make 15-pound fluorocarbon in it. You could just, put a short fluorocarbon leader and drop down to 15 if you had to.
Yeah.
But they do take on a lot of they get a lot tougher to catch than the straight albacore school.
Yep.
Where they get really
How
stupid.
come they don't get the trade of the albacore?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Dan's right. Why don't the bluefin learn from the albacore? Bite everything.
Come on, hey,
Yeah, good point, Dan.
eat
I got
for
to
free.
admit.
Here, go.
You're playing a dangerous game, though. If you're in 20-pound albacore and 70-pound bluefin and you start fishing 15-pound,
Yeah, that's a feat.
that's a dangerous game you're playing there. Or, hey, Boca Negra. Phil, on a recent show, there was a hint of a monthly gathering where there would be a speaker, maybe a raffle. Have you had a chance to find a location? Can you give an update? Jorge, you are just the man to push me to do that now. And Anthony's going to keep on me the next couple of days, and I will be announcing a meeting place and meeting with a guest speaker. Who knows? Maybe it'll be Danny Kadota. It certainly will not be Scott Buchard or Dan Lightfoot. But, hey, no, Jorge, I've been too busy, or I don't want to say that. I've been really busy, and I kind of forgot that I said that, and I'm glad you reminded me. So I will get on that. I really want to do that. I think we could have a lot of fun. That other day we had the surf fishing thing. We had 200 people. Some people, Dan says 200. It was at least 150. It was
That's a lot of people.
incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So we probably could put together some great meetings. Or, hey, thanks for reminding me about that. So Brandon has a follow-up question. Danny, for you, will the 100-plus pound bluefin mix with albacore, or do the albacore move on due to the size of the bluefin? Do they get intimidated by those bigger fish, or will they mix together?
I've never seen them mix with that big of bluefin.
Right.
They're usually the schoolies.
Kind of the same size fish, right?
Yeah, but what really makes that tough is if you do hang, as when they mix with the bluefin, you're going to have to drop down the lighter line generally because albacore will take on the traits of like the bluefin, and they get touchier. So you're going to drop down the lighter line. So the last thing you need is 100-pound bluefin around with 15 or 20, 15-pound or whatever.
Yeah.
Kiss that goodbye. That's pretty tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty tough. So, I've seen it, but like I said, it's you kiss your line goodbye. You might as well just point the rod,
I know.
pop it, retie, and try to get an albie or a smaller bluefin. But yeah, that I haven't seen a mix with that big a diversity in size though. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Scott Buchert says, tell the cranker he better bring enough food tonight or I'm going to come down on him like a ton of whatever it is. So, oh, wait, he didn't say that. I just made that up. Sorry, Mike. James Williams. James, good to have you with us, my friend. Phil, does Danny, so Danny, this is for you. Do you still fish pre-spawn for trophy bass? James wants to know.
No, I haven't done that in years. We were very blessed, and I followed the bass, and we happened to be at the age where when those things were peaking out size wise, that we were on them all the time. And I would be out there fishing sometimes 5 days a week when those things were on.
Were you?
Typically, oh yeah.
Yeah.
For generally anywhere from December through March. By the time March the spawn came, the bigger fish had pretty much gone.
And it's your off-season saltwater fishing, so you're perfect.
We were up there quite a bit.
Yeah.
And on the weekends, I'd come back down and run the boat. But I don't want to be on the lakes, zipping around with all the other bass boats to 70 miles an hour. And they are, like a lot of different fish, pressure sensitive. So when you get more pressure, and some of the very best days I had where there was only one or two of us on the lake. If you look at the picture the day I got my 1904, it was in the 20s and 30s up there. It had snowed the day before. I-5 was closed, so there was only one other bass boat on the lake, and that was Tanaka. So we were the only two bass boats on the lake that day, and both of us had great days, But they are definitely pressure sensitive.
What does that mean exactly? So you're watching the barometer?
Well,
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and I like fishing inclement weather.
Uh-huh.
Because you know what? All the fair weather guys stay home.
Yeah.
So when you have less pressure,
you're talking about pressure in terms
on
of
the lake.
how many people
how
are.
many,
Yeah,
how
okay.
many fishermen on the lake?
Gotcha.
How many lines are going in the water?
Yep, gotcha.
And it also allows with less boats, allows me to hit a couple spots that haven't been hit. And I'm always glassing around. Somebody hits a spot. It's like fishing at the islands here, right? You're not going to go run. If there's a certain skipper that's there, he hits it and leaves. Why did he leave? Well,
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
So, I implemented a lot of the mentality that we had on the ocean the same way. So I would look for spots. A lot had to do with the conditions.
Yes.
And probably at that time, there are very few bass fishermen that really understood the currents on the lakes, whether it was Casitas or Castaic, where you had flow going different ways
Yeah.
on different spots. And that's where, if you looked at the sport boat fishermen, like Taka,
Yeah.
with Don, Danny Sansom, Ray Montera, Buzzy, all the guys that ran sport fishing boats, I'll go back even further than that. Go back to Herb Curley. Some of the guys way back.
Herb Curley, I remember that guy.
There were some.
That was a
great
long
fishermen
time ago.
Yeah, that were doing that, but had that understanding of the current, and that was the key thing for catching those big fish. And we were blessed that we had that background in running sport boats, setting up on the spots with respect to it. And then what we did was we would double anchor, so that your partner, we both have an even shot at the fish. So
Yeah.
here's a rock. I would straddle it so we both have a shot on this
Oh, nice.
particular tree or a rock.
Yeah.
And then you make adjustments. So if the current's going this way, we pull up the anchor, drop it up here. So when you cast here, it would sink down to this rock.
Oh, okay.
So it's like
Very
like
strategic.
It's like setting up on the spots when you get to
Sure,
Catalina or
sure.
Cortez Bank or Tanner. It's not random plop down the anchor and just make a wish.
Yeah.
You're fishing with respect to which way the current's leading. It's going to lead that fish are going to come in from a certain point. On that rock to hunt their prey. So,
Yeah.
That had a lot to do with it.
All right, good stuff. Great question. Noriega says, why, when trolling a cork, I think like a cedar plug probably is what you're talking about, works so much better than feathers? Why is that? Or do you feel that that's true?
You mean for
Like trolling a cedar plug as opposed to like albacore feathers, I guess, is what we're talking about.
offshore.
Yeah.
Probably
think-
just the action.
Uh-huh.
The feathers are going to track straight.
Yeah.
You know, your lures, depending on the entry or whether it has a lip or whatever,
Yeah.
will kick a lot more with the resistance as it goes down. It goes side to side more, so it has more of that realistic deal. Where a feather, you pull a feather, it's just going to come straight.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Steve Din. I wonder what's going to be the hot selling lure this year for the tuna. Haha. And I don't know if Steve is like suggesting that sometimes, I don't know if I'm reading your mind here or not, Steve, but you know, it's like what worked 40 years ago works now, doesn't it?
Pretty much.
or
Pretty
is,
much, but you have to. You know what? A good fisherman
yeah,
is going to watch, and
that's true.
you listen. If I have any inside information on something, I will go out and get it, because the last thing you want to do
Yeah, you're good
is
at that.
not be prepared.
Yep.
So you have to have the inside, and that has to do with that intel, folks. Has to do with every aspect of fishing, from trout fishing all the way up to what we're doing,
Yeah,
long range
yeah.
fishing or whatever it might be. But having that insight is what's going on, the type of bait that's available on that particular structure, whether you're on a lay host, whether you're down the line, on the inside. You want to kind of match the hatch.
Yep.
But you know, you go down prepared. You go down prepared, and unfortunately, you know, we got these huge boxes that weigh a ton now. But you know, there's no tackle shop when you're down there,
Yeah, right.
several hundred miles, and
Gotta have it with ya.
So you have to be prepared, and it has to do with doing your homework. And even like when I bass fished, I would get on the horn and have that diligence to call all my fishing partners. And if I was going down to San Diego, I'd be calling the San Diego Brews. You know, either like Danny Sansom, John Lloyd. I mean, you know, Ray Montero. There's a lot of guys that we would call back in those days for inside, and I would trade information. If they're coming north, I would give them the scoop on what was going on up here. So it was nice having a nucleus of. They're not just ordinary fishermen. These guys were all exceptional captains.
Yep.
There, you know, Taka, you know, for one, you know, was my mentor, and you know, so we had a great network of people that worked together, and it's got to be a two-way deal. The
Absolutely.
information can't go one way, and you're not coughing anything up. So you had to be in contact. When I got home from a lake, I would key the guys in. I got them on this spot, got one here, there, you know, let them know which way the conditions were, the current was, whatever, you know, and where certain structure was at what height, because that level made a difference in where they would stratify to.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Steve, Sam De La Torre from Island Fishing Tqckle and Tackle Shop Confessions will be live over there in an hour. He says it's going to be the tungsten jigs. Those are going to be the hot one. And Mad Dog, who's sitting right here in front of me, that's Anthony. He says the hot new jig is going to be the Tuna Riot Clear Poppers. So we'll see which one it is. Fisherman 72, seen 100-pound bluefin tuna mixed with 20-pound yellowfin tuna. It wasn't good when you hooked one of the big ones. Got you, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, you gear down to catch those smaller grade yellowfin and hook one of those big BFTs, and like Danny said, you might as well just pop the fish off and start over.
Well, that was like on our freedom trip.
Oh, yeah.
We first pulled up on the bank. We're
Yep.
hanging school-sized bluefin, and everybody's bending. They're up and down. I make a cast out, and I had too short of top shots on my
Right.
20 and my 25, so I go, oh my God, I have a longer length of mono to fluorocarbon on my 30 pounds. So I said, okay, what the heck? And I threw that out, and I get bit on that. And luckily I did, because they were all those bigger fish, right? But, you know, it's trial and error.
Yep.
You know, and you never know what you're going to get. But, I mean, be prepared. You just have to be
100%.
prepared.
Hey, we are out of time, but we're gonna finish the questions here because we don't leave our questions hanging
God.
here. But we've already zoomed through an hour
Holy.
of this tonight, and that's hard to believe. Where's Michael at? 2 fish. Needs one more.
Oh, Oh, my.
to get to the 3 that Danny established. Ducks Go, who is Brandon, says, I would imagine the bluefin mixing with albacore would only be on the outside of the chum circle. Phil and Danny, or am I completely wrong and a dunderhead? I wouldn't say you're a dunderhead, but they mix up everywhere. They're not just on the
they'll
outside
mix.
of the, yeah, they're
But
just,
the albies will act like bluefin.
yes.
They will get touchier.
Exactly. James Williams, we still do that, Danny. You were describing how you fish there. He says, great answer, James. Thank you so much. And Brandon says, I got to see if Zucker's Lure Company is still around. Man, those Albies love that brand of trolling lure, Danny.
Yeah, they were, the company was Billy Miyagawa
Yeah.
and John Lloyd.
Yeah.
And, he'd come down and they give us all the prototypes and new stuff. They give us all the boats. And then how smart is that? Because you put them on your boat.
Oh, yeah.
You get them. It's monkey see,
People are
monkey
watching
do.
it,
They go,
yeah.
Where do you get them on? Well, we got them on Zuckers. So, guess
Yep.
what? We're up in the tackle shop.
Yep.
Buying 'em,
You ever slide like 3 or 4 or 3 of those jigs together and toss it back there for a big guy?
Sometimes 2.
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't go on the boat lines. It'd
Yeah.
go on a rod and reel.
Yes, 100%. All right. Hey, folks, we got to run over to Island Fishing Tqckle and start a show here in less than an hour now. Danny, another great show. Hit that like button, everybody. We deeply appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, folks.
Are we going to have one more cup of coffee before we leave?
I don't know. Maybe
Are you going
warm
to take
it up
down
just a little
Scott?
bit.
Because Scott
Oh, no,
demanded
Scott
that you
would be-
take him down. Scott's going to be live with us. He says he refuses to go on the show. But who knows? I think
You know
we
what you
might
ought to
build
do is
that.
just cut out the mouth and get a ratchet thing where you could pull it down and the mouth and lips go.
Now you're picking on.
can only put
Oh,
your
that's
own
pretty
lips
good.
in
I
there.
like that actually.
Of course.
Scott, we'll see you at Tackle Shop Confessions. Danny, thanks again, my friend.
All right, Phil.
Great show.
Always
Thank
good.
you, everybody.
Thanks for
We'll
tuning in, folks.
see you in an hour over there at Island Fishing Tqckle.